I grew up in northwest Ohio, just miles from the Michigan border. As anyone from a dry county in Kentucky can tell you, America is made great by her patchwork of laws that allow scofflaws to find paradise just across regional boundaries. For pyromaniac Ohio boys like me, that meant scoring fireworks in southeast Michigan. I was 10 when Dad sent my 22-year-old brother on a short hike north to fetch a giant box of explosives in honor of our nation's founding. Pleased by how I could light stationary firecrackers with long matches, and buoyed by hours of fire safety lectures he'd given me, Dad felt comfortable enough to turn me and my 9-year-old best friend out on our own. Maybe Pop figured his eldest son would feel the weight of fraternal responsibility and buy the least dangerous items for me, like sparklers, snakes, and poppets. Instead, my brother rolled up the driveway in his Pontiac Firebird, originally green but painted over black to resemble Burt Reynolds' Bandit Trans Am, and out of his trunk came a box with a staggering assortment of potentially lethal novelty items. My buddy, let's call him Rocco, and I looked on in awe. Without a hint of irony, my stone-faced brother stared at my face, thrust the box in my hands, and said, "If you have any balls at all, you'll douse this with gas and light a match." As if to drive the point home, he stared intensely for another second, wheeled around, and disappeared without further comment. As it happened, Rocco and I did not take my brother's advice, but that's only because we wanted the Pyrofest to last all week. And so we set out for the far end of my enormous backyard where the city had built a small rectangular water pumping station. Among other things, the brick pump station had a large manhole covered by a 4-foot diameter metal top that vibrated with an awesome report when we dropped cherry bombs down the 20-foot hole. The station sat on a concrete slab, which was a great place for snakes and flaming whirly-doodles. By the 5th of July, the building and its concrete foundation looked like Wile E. Coyote's face after a brush with dynamite. We exploded things with impunity. We loved dropping 2 or 3 cherry bombs down an empty beer bottle and watching glass fly. We'd blow up piles of dog crap. Since Dad planted apple trees, we also had an abundance of apples. Nothing extends the distance of a lit cherry bomb like having it jimmied into a half-rotten apple while you light it and wing it at your friend. What must our mothers have thought when we came home every day reeking of gunpowder and apple cider? Day after day, we launched bottle rockets and lobbed apple bombs. We'd shoot Roman candles directly at brick walls and dodge the fireballs as they ricocheted back. We held firecrackers in our hands until just before the fuse reached its destination, as if the stories we heard in school about boys with shredded digits and paralyzed hands didn't apply to us. Sometimes we'd up the ante by donning my mom's padded gardening gloves and holding on through the explosion. We were middle American boys, celebrating our freedom. Fire took an outsized role in my life as I progressed in my teens. Whether it was burning ants with a magnifying glass or setting piles of leaves ablaze in the street as they waited for the fall collection, fire conferred a sense of power otherwise lacking in my young male ego. Back when everyone smoked and restaurants gave away packs of matches, I'd grab handfuls of the magical incendiary sticks. I loved setting the whole pack off at once, a momentary sulfurous explosion that, along with death metal and high fructose corn syrup, punctuated the boredom of my youth. Rocco and I would spend long afternoons at his house flicking matches. We perfected the technique where you light a match while flicking it toward a target. As often as not, we'd flick the matches at each other. Rocco's mom kept a gas can filled in the garage, so Rocco would siphon a little fuel here and there to feed our perpetual flames. Rocco made gas puddles in his driveway, and we'd compete to see who could be the first to fling a flaming match into it. Sometimes, Rocco would light a puddle in his garage while the gas can sat a few feet away. I remember a tall pillar burning while Rocco, wearing only cotton sweat socks, kicked his foot through the middle. We tried making Molotov cocktails, but could never quite get the recipe right. This was, after all, long before the internet. One time we tried to detonate a bottle of gas with a flaming rag in the top, but we only succeeded in spreading several fires on the blacktop as the flaming liquid spread. You could consider this a failure of pyromaniac commitment, except that we started the fires on the side of a busy road, which, coincidentally, was right next to Rocco's house. Where we failed with Molotov cocktails, we succeeded in making bombs from 2-liter plastic bottles and a smattering of household items. The older kids taught us how to make them, but they forgot to say how the time of explosion varied depending on the ratio of chemicals used or the outdoor temperature. We only learned that after a few near misses with blindness and chemical burns. It's been years since I've lit a firecracker, but I'm easily dazzled by videos of men children who start fires with sticks. I've never welded anything in my life, but sometimes at the store I'll see a blowtorch and think, I really need that. And whenever I'm at a cookout, I dutifully gather around the grill with all the other males. Here I am, middle-aged and still staring at fire, looking for answers. Awed by its transformative powers, I get closer than I should, waiting for my phoenix to rise and make me a kid again.